NCAA Pick'em Boys 2024 Week 3. We already got Week 3 and 10 more weeks to go. I feel like we're almost at the end, but we're just getting started. I'm your host, Gavin Lynch, the usual. But as usual, we got to cover a couple of ground rules. Picks are due Saturday, September 14th at 11 a.m. And the first game is Thursday, not Friday, but Thursday, September 12th, which is tomorrow, or I guess as you listen to this today, at 6 p.m. Central Time for the one person that thought Pacific or whatever. Just know it's Central Time. So I don't want to hear it, okay? Ever again. September 14th, 11 a.m. Picks are due. Central. I digress. Let's get into a couple of scores, some recaps, some standings of week 2. We got Steven going 4-1. Finally, we got a standalone winner. Congratulations. Although he did take a Notre Dame loss, so going 4-1, but taking the Notre Dame loss, that's tough. I think he would have rather gone 0-5 and take the Notre Dame win, but that's okay. A lot of people gone 3-2 today or this week. Christian Crenwell leading the pack. And then about the back nine, we have a lot of 2-3. So it was a rather tough week. I think there was a lot of spreads that didn't quite go into play like they needed to. But if we're going to talk about overall standings in our top 5, we got Christian Crenwell, Steven, and Tommy leading 7-3 currently. So everybody's in, those people that I'm talking about are in the standing for money. And the, I guess, tied for second place really is Cody, Kyle J, and Zach, all going 6-4. So we kind of have a tight knit running for first, second, and third, fourth, and fifth. So a lot can change. I've seen people from the bottom go all the way back up to the top. So anything's possible. Okay. Now, a couple of games that really screwed people up. This Texas-Michigan game. Texas winning 31-12. I couldn't believe it myself. But I think Michigan is not the team that they used to be, which is understandable. Another one that hurt a lot of people, which, Peter, you're going to have to fall on that sword, brother. It was Iowa State at Iowa. 20-19 by last-minute field goal. Incredible. Was a good game to watch, in my opinion. And then lastly, a game that I didn't get to watch much. Shout out to me being the only guy that picked it. Kansas at Illinois. I had Kansas actually winning outright on my card personally. So I'm as good as they come, as they say. But it's like, whatever. But there you go. That's the recap for the week. Let's get in to our people. Peter Goulandry, the expert at who knows what, and Jerry Stovall, the analyst expert. Guys, what's up? Jerry, lay it on me. What up, homie?
So I'm not talking to Peter until he apologizes.
Oh, I knew this was gonna come up. Y'all two, oh man, it was two middle school girls throwing hands. Y'all guys are insane. Peter, you got something you gotta say?
The disrespect to BK after all he's done for Notre Dame, and you're going to say, oh, it's all BK and why we're having problems now? Oh, come on. Give me the I'm sorry for bad-mouthing the reason why Notre Dame is as relevant as they are today.
Nope. All I got to say is I've been fucked so many times by Brian Kelly that I buy Vaseline weekly because it's so sore.
Good. That's a great response. Doesn't sound like an apology, but we'll take it.
That's just typical Notre Dame fashion. They are only hooked into the Lou Holtz kind of era, and they just think that it's like that's the golden age, and they completely ignore what happened between Lou Holtz and BK. And I mean, I gave him all the statistics. The numbers don't lie. He can be sour. He can be a sour little Irish man.
He really can.
Mm-hmm. So we didn't win really any bowl games with BK. We got into the games, never won.
I mean, it's a fair point. Any thoughts on last week's card at all?
Man, not going to use NCAA football as a way to make my predictions because clearly the video game does not know what it's talking about. Who would have thought that Michigan looked like a joke of a team without their little cheater on the sideline? And yeah, and Kentucky, South Carolina, probably the most boring game of football I've ever watched. That was terrible.
Yeah, who's Kentucky playing this week? Somebody, Georgia.
Georgia.
That's right, Georgia. I think that'll be. I think people are making it closer than what it's actually going to be. Personally,
And then South Carolina's playing LSU, which no one picked that game. For the love of God, do save an L. That is not a game to choose.
but sitting at 6.5, ain't it?
Something like that. It ain't worth it.
Ah, man, it's a touchdown. I love picks that are like within a field goal or like within a touchdown. Like those are always juicy. Uh, I don't know. I'm definitely gonna research and look at that game because I definitely might put it on my card. But I do have to owe it to the quote of the week from our winner Steven. And he told me to put a lot of pain in my voice, and his quote is "Go Irish." I mean,
That's some dedication. Dedication I don't have.
yeah, saying that after taking the loss, power to you, staying strong. I gag having that come out of my mouth, but yes, go Irish. Shout out Steven. That's the worst. All right, we got 3 games. I'm sure we could talk about a lot more, but we're going to get into the first game, Jerry's pick, I believe. We're talking Arizona State at Texas State. Arizona State favored 1.5. We got a road dog favorite at 1.5, which I do believe, according to Jerry, the line has moved to a pick 'em. So at this point, there really isn't a spread. It's really down to a 50-50 of just who's going to win the game. Now, Jerry, what you got for us?
Yeah, so hopefully Gavin is showing at the bottom of the screen that I am 2-0 so far. So let's not diminish that kind of progress there compared to last year. But yeah, it's surprising how close of a spread this one is. I mean, yes, it's in San Marcos. Yeah, it's a 6:30 kickoff. In it's just intriguing with so much because it is literally just a toss up. And it's awesome. Like there's really no head to head. It's even. It looks like at the moment. Texas State is 4-6 against the spread, and for spreads as close as this is, Texas State actually in the last 2 games they've played well, or I'm sorry, the last 3 games they have played well when the spread is like 3 points or less, but suck whenever it's 33.5, which is understandable. But seeing how Arizona State played Mississippi State so well,
I know.
and I mean they look dominant, dominance of Arizona State team that we haven't seen in quite some time,
Yep.
and because of their offensive production, I think it's just going to be too much for Texas State to handle for 4 quarters. They'll keep it close for about 2 or 3 quarters, but at the end of it, I think Arizona State's going to run away with it and win as well as cover the spread.
I would agree because Arizona State has experience playing big dogs, you know, and Texas State. I think like the only way they've ever dipped their toes in the water of that is UTSA at the time that they were good. At the time, because now, I mean, even just last week, a quote unquote little rivalry. UTSA, I guess they played. No, they played at home, Texas State. UTSA traveled over to Texas State and they lost. 49 to 10.
49 to 10.
What's happening?
What's happening?
It's Peter. I know it's Peter.
Honestly, my thoughts for the game are it's not like I think Arizona State's gonna cover pretty easily just because I think it's not an intimidating environment to play in San Marcos.
No.
Like I don't think of anyone being like, "Ooh, can we win in this tough environment?" Especially after like beating Mississippi State. So I'm expecting ASU to come in and just kind of wreck them.
Yeah, I mean, I I would find this game more reasonable at like 6.5. Um,
Yeah.
but at 1.5, Arizona State seems like an obvious pick. Like I'm like 95% sure that I'm going to gamble on this game, put it on my card personally. Um, I don't know. We're gonna see. I think that's a great game to pick, Jerry. But all right, let's get into the next game. We're going to talk about this one's going to be an interesting one too. I I I don't know what I'm going to pick yet, but we're going to talk about Texas A&M yet again at Florida down at the Swamp. Texas A&M projected to win by 4.5. Got some road dog favorites here. Peter, what's your argument?
Well, first off, this little section is sponsored by wrong side. Pete's Fence Company. Hit me up for your fences and the new rod poles in the surrounding area. Cheers, everyone.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Um, honestly, I think this game is like just the word, like just a bad team versus another bad team when it comes to covering. Uh, neither team likes to cover, and neither team lately likes to show up in big games. I personally think Texas A&M is still slightly better, mainly because of their defense. Their offense, I'm still sure they crushed McNeese. I don't even know where McNeese is at. And then Florida still hasn't shown me anything that makes me think, okay, they can like defend their home turf. So I expect A&M to come in, win by like a touchdown, maybe 10 points if they're feeling good, but I don't see much coming from Florida these days.
So, a bit of a geography lesson. McNeese State is located in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I know that because I work there, and they are a Southland Conference team. Beautiful area. You should go check them out. They're one of the best in tailgating and the FCS level. But I agree. I mean, both of these teams, it's hard to judge what you have because they did play tough week 1 opponents,
Yep.
week 2 opponents. So the numbers or the stats are all absolutely skewed. I think what the deciding factor is going to be is who is going to be quarterback at Florida. Because from what I saw, Graham Mertz is QB1 according to Billy Napier. Um, I don't see how you do that after DJ Lagway played really well and looked phenomenal against the Samford, but he also played Miami fairly strong when he was in there too. I'm wondering if this is more of kind of like a not a publicity stunt, but kind of lull A&M into thinking that they're gonna have one quarterback, but then be like, haha, bait and switch. So I think that's the deciding factor. If Mertz is playing, give me A&M. But if Lagway's playing, it would be hard for me to not choose Florida to at least cover the spread.
I'm kind of on the same boat where like both of the like last week we were playing weak teams. So it gives the offense an opportunity to find their rhythm, especially when they're like, they're scoring a lot of points where like Wegman, especially on A&M, needed a little bit more time to kind of figure his shtick out. And personally, I think A&M could come out as the better team in this situation. I know that Florida's defense is lacking just a little bit more than A&M. A&M's just a smidge. And with the spread being at 4.5, God, it's a stickler because the line's already moved down to 3.5, where a lot of people are favoring that. I mean, that means a lot of people are favoring Florida to kind of show up. But man, I hate doing it. It's like every time I pick A&M, it just never works. But unfortunately, I gotta pick A&M as well. Peter, what did you pick?
A&M, so it's more than likely that we're both going to miss this pick then because Jerry went the other way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, mine's an if-then kind of situation. I don't know if this changes your picks, but another interesting but sad fact about McNeese State, they have a total of 50. I think I said this earlier. 50 recruits and transfers from last season to this season. They've only won 2 games last season, one of which was a forfeit. And so in 2 years, they have had 3 W's in their name. But having 50 new players on a team, regardless of their experience at another school, I mean, Colorado is a fantastic example of how that doesn't translate to being a star-studded, perfect team. So I
Right.
don't know if that changes your opinion about how good A&M's offense is, because it could be inflated numbers because of it.
I
Well,
do think one
yeah.
of the
I mean,
problems with A&M. Oh, oh.
no,
I
no,
do
go
think
ahead.
one of the problems with A&M is they also took Wigman out in the second quarter. So I
Yep.
want it's like he was struggling week one, and I don't know if 2 quarters is enough to build up momentum for week three. Still going to go with A&M, but I am a little leery of is their offense actually put together, like to be able to put up points versus versus a decent team. I'm not going to call Florida good.
Yeah, I have a sneaky suspicion that the outcome of this game will be on SEC shorts,
It should be.
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It-
It either
They did a
goes
fantastic job in week 2. I can't wait to see what week 3 has.
freaking Vanderbilt. I mean, just this. I mean, these ride man, it's just riding alone, man, into the sunset. They're straight chilling right now. Absolutely hilarious. If you guys haven't seen SEC shorts or don't know about it, go check them out on YouTube. They're the cream of the crop of executing SNL skits related to football, like pretty damn accurate too. It's always a good laugh. And shout out Scotty Scheffler, listening to Barstool Sports Advisors every Sunday morning. He listens
I-
to Barstool Sports Advisors, goes to church, and then watches football. And I'm like, man, what a bro! Just hanging out with the bros. That's just what it is. Jerry,
American
don't die
dream.
over there.
Man, the sneezes are trying to kill me. But no, SEC Shorts saw them live when they did an all Aggie lineup. Fantastic job. Made fun of the yell leaders.
Oh
There
yeah.
was mention about something with uh, Jimbo's plaque of national championship whenever. They're definitely
Yeah.
worth seeing it live if y'all have a chance.
That's fantastic. I've been wanting to see what their whole ordeal is live, so it's very interesting. Was it like multiple skits
Oh
or
yeah, they basically would do a skit like you see on YouTube. The stage will go dark. They'll set it up again. They'll have some fan interaction, throw in some shirts, getting them up there to do like the team trivia. So there was a lot of Aggie trivia with it, and then they would do another skit. And they do the research. They were spot on with a lot of the traditions and a lot of stats. It was, I mean, my wife isn't a big football fan, but she got a good chuckle out of what they did.
that's impressive. Okay, well, last game we got to talk about, and I've been praying about this one all day too, personally.
This is gonna be
Um,
the most fun game to watch.
I think so too, and we're talking Tulane at a ranked 15 Oklahoma. Spread is 13 and a half, favoring Oklahoma. Now, I know everybody's going to be talking about this game and everybody's going to get hung up on Oklahoma's game last week against Houston, where they barely won 16-12, which I think a lot of people are hanging their hat on, favoring Tulane to cover the spread because of the outcome of this Oklahoma Houston game. However, head to head, now reckon this happened in 2021 and 2017 when Tulane and Oklahoma played each other. The spread was 31 in 2021, and in 2017 it was 33. And Tulane covered in 2021, but it was 40-35. So it was still a 15-point spread. They managed to cover, but they still lost by 15 points. And my personal opinion here is I think Oklahoma has them outmatched on both sides of the ball. I know that maybe like the rankings on like defense and offense might say otherwise, but if we're talking about Oklahoma personally is going to take this game and blow them out to prove a point that they can still ride, even though like yeah they're 2-0, but I know they were disappointed by the Houston game. You know, I mean 16-12. I mean that's a pretty boring game, pretty dull. Not a lot of stuff was happening. Where I think Oklahoma's going to try to prove a point to say, hey man, we can get out here and crush teams if we really want to. And I think that that's going to happen this time around. I'm taking Oklahoma 13.5. Give me the points.
Wow, that's bold.
I got to. I mean, Oklahoma knows how to blow teams out.
I mean, they historically they do, but are you looking at the Oklahoma offense compared to Tulane's defense?
Hey, that's why I said I'm like, hey, regardless of the stats.
I mean, if there's two programs that I feel like I would be comfortable looking at the stats on, it would most likely be, at least for defense, Tulane. Because yes, Tulane had a bit of a patty game against Southeastern Louisiana, but they played Kansas State, which if Kansas State and Oklahoma were to go head to head, even if it's at Oklahoma, I don't know if Oklahoma would be able to walk away with a win on that alone.
Yeah.
And so seeing Tulane's defense statistics matched up to Oklahoma's offense, which, mind you, they played Temple and Houston. Their offensive numbers should be greatly skewed, like A&M skewed kind of numbers. And you're still seeing defensive wise, Tulane's defense matches up better in yards per play, rushing attempts, passing attempts, completion, yards after completion, yards attempt, and it even goes on to like the special teams. It's favored heavily for Tulane, and this Tulane team is not the Tulane that we saw before Willie Fritz. I mean, this is a great team. I'm surprised you didn't choose Tulane to at least cover the spread. They don't have to win, but a 13.5 point spread, that's hard. I'm shocked.
I so like and that's the thing is Kansas State still hasn't proven themselves this year, in my opinion. I mean they played Tulane, which was cool, but they also like their first week had a blowout of 41-6 against UTM, whoever that is.
Who is that? University of Tennessee or University of Middle Tennessee? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
I'm looking it up. It's going to bother me.
But listen, Oklahoma has won 24 of its last 25 games against non-conference opponents. So we know that Oklahoma statistically is going to win this game. Okay. And Tulane has an offense that like could certainly compete with this endeavor. And especially because they're at Oklahoma too. And then that's also another little stipulation. I mean, when you play in Oklahoma, it's hard. It really is. We've watched teams. I mean, Texas is a great example of last year. Wait, no, Oklahoma played at Texas, right?
No, they play the Red River rivalry.
Yeah, it's a neutral site, I thought.
Yep.
Come on, Gavin.
I know that was a brain fart on my part. Nonetheless, that's a great example. Oklahoma beating Texas, that they could ride with the dogs. They could ride. They got a lot of bark and a lot of bite, and that's okay.
Rivalry-wise, yes.
Didn't they play Houston at home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
weren't
pretty
supposed to say
50-50 on
that.
this game right now. I think if I were to pick a team, I think Tulane's going to cover. Because I also think Oklahoma, I don't know, I think Oklahoma's going to come out and try and make a statement because two of their next three games are tough. They're playing Tennessee at Auburn, and then they're playing Texas. So they have like a kind of a tougher schedule coming up. So I think if Oklahoma's gonna cover, is good because they're gonna try and make a statement with this game. But I really think Tulane's gonna be able to keep it within the spread.
That was a
Just
great
'cause-
argument, Peter. Yes, Oklahoma is going to make a statement. Thank you for saying that.
So
Maybe.
they're
They
gonna
also-
want to make a statement. I'm gonna be
Right.
shocked if they're not already looking to the future because they think, oh, this is Tulane. We're gonna just be better than them, and they're already looking at Tennessee. This is a dangerous trap game because not only is Tennessee right next week, and they're going to be looking at that, but even Tulane's offensive numbers compared to Oklahoma's defense, which again should be greatly skewed in their favor. Tulane still has a ton of numbers that heavily favors them over Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The more I talk about it, I'm almost tempted to like call my brother in Louisiana and say, putting the money on Tulane winning, not just covering the spread, but winning.
No, that is absolutely no way. No way. No way. This is a
It is- I do
blowout
find it-
spot.
I find it glaringly alarming that they only scored 16 points on Houston. Houston sucks.
No, Houston's a solid team.
Oh, Gavin.
No, I mean,
The only thing the University of Houston is good at is men's basketball. Besides that, they're not good.
I mean, it's true. Yeah, they're 0-2 right now.
Yeah,
No,
0-2, and Houston's also lost two. They've gone 2-8 in their last 10 games. Like they're just not a good team.
Is that their overall record or against the spread?
Against the spread, they're 4-5-1.
Oh, Gavin, you chose poorly.
Mm.
Your
No,
luck is bad.
Well, okay, so I'll tell you this. I know, I'm pretty confident, almost certain, that Tulane ain't winning this game. If Oklahoma's won 24 out of 25 non-conference games, I mean, is it going to be 24-26 now? No, I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
We're not betting off of win losses. We're going based on the spread.
Yeah, no,
13 and a half?
Exactly. So Oklahoma has covered a lot of these non-conference games.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, I'm sorry. I get it now.
Yeah. No, I mean the status for winning, but they've covered a ton of those non-conference games.
What have they done this year?
Oh, come on. Week 3.
You get a new team every year in college football. That's what makes it far more superior than NFL.
Yeah, but we're
You
on
can
week
only
3.
look. I know, and that's what's scary, because you have a very good battle-tested Tulane team, a question mark in Oklahoma, and they're looking forward, or most likely are going to be looking forward to the first SEC opponent in Tennessee.
Right, and so Tulane's going to be their punching bag. Let's get our reps in. Let's beat them to a pulp so we're ready to go when we're playing some real teams. Y'all are on crack.
They also can't pull out all the stops because if they put too much footage out there for other teams to watch tape on, they're going to trip themselves up with the SEC.
That's
So
true.
they can't pull out all the stops.
Hey,
Tulane has nothing to lose.
Angle. Don't do that angle of attack. Don't do that. Don't do that. That don't work.
Tulane may not be in the Fun Belt Conference, but they're going to assure us they should be playing like they are. This should be a lose situation for Oklahoma. Either they're going to have to show everything to win and give too much for SEC opponents, or they're going to have to be conservative and just try to keep their playbook small, and they're going to lose because of a fun Tulane team.
Yeah, no, this game's going to be light work. I'm going to get all the dogs to ride with me. We'll get all the dogs to ride with me. Ain't no problem. It's gonna be light work, and I'll put money on it too. I will gamble on this game accordingly. I mean,
what time is this kickoff? I need to watch this game. This is gonna be phenomenal.
It's gonna be at 2:30.
Oh, even better.
For
Tell you what,
Oklahoma,
though.
I agree.
Gavin, I was saying the same thing about Notre Dame and NIU because growing up in Illinois, you know how much NIU sucks. And they still not just covered, they won. And I think Tulane is gearing up to be the big upset for this week.
Listen, we can't compare Notre Dame to anybody because Notre Dame's just that bad.
Are we going to have a moment of
of
silence for their playoff hopes?
Yes, we could certainly do that. We'll pour
Wait,
one
hear
out.
me out.
Okay.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Hot take. If this is a big if
I
Notre
know
Dame blows out
you're gonna
USC,
sound just like a Cubs fan right now.
Hey,
Right now,
hey,
if they do this, if they do that, go ahead. Go ahead.
if Notre Dame blows out USC, assuming they've won every game before that, I bet you they make it in as the 12 seed, like lowest seed you can go. I think the college football, or yeah, whatever, the college football playoff committee will be like, sneak him in, see what happens.
No.
So
At best, they'll be top 20. They ain't gonna be top 12.
why can't
Just
I find-
saying.
You want to put money
the one
on
thing
it?
is, well, the
Would
one thing,
you
here's why I
put
say
money
that.
on it?
I'd put money on it is if they blow out USC. Without blowing out USC, I don't think they have an argument.
So it's not helping in your argument because if they were to do the selection now, USC is only number 11 and Notre Dame is sitting at 18.
I just
That-
I said UC just because it's the only ranked opponent they have left.
I mean, you would have to pray that USC runs the table in the Big Ten because, yeah, on that,
Mhm.
they have Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State ahead of them. But that's not looking good.
Man, rumor has it Ohio State wants to smoke this year.
Every Ohio State fan says that every year, and they make like the easiest schedule. So it's like,
Well, they have Jesus on their side. They baptized a lot of people on campus, like I think after week 1. So they're trying to get all the spiritual W's that they can get.
Now to switch gears a little bit, I know that this wasn't on the docket, but do we have any takes on maybe like top 2, top 3, top 4 contenders for the national championship?
Ooh, Peter, do you have it, or you want me to go? Because I've talked about this on the podcast. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Cody, Kyle, and I have talked about this on our podcast before the season started. I think Ole Miss should be on everyone's radar. They are like not only are they scary good right now, but they were scary good to start the season. They just refueled on the offensive side of the ball, and the way that Lane Kiffin is calling those offensive plays right now, they're going for 2 things. One, they're trying to be flashy, and because they know how the college football playoff committee likes big numbers and gaudy offenses in the playoffs. But then 2, they're trying to get Jackson Dart to get the Heisman. I mean, they are padding those numbers big time. So keep an eye out for Ole Miss. I think they not only will make the playoffs, but they should be a deep runner in the playoffs.
I think Ewers is the favorite right now for for Heisman.
I mean, it's hopefully they have a head-to-head. I mean, Texas should win it, but I mean, the way that Ole Miss is playing on offense, it's scary.
I think personally, right now, as it stands, and I hate saying this, but I think Texas is going to take this one in the bag.
They'll find a way to choke.
Now that is a
Yeah,
true statement. They're good at doing that too.
And while Gavin looks at it, for everyone interested in that Oklahoma Tulane game, it is at a 2:30 kickoff on ESPN.
That's good to know too.
Yeah, primetime channel for you to watch. You get an L choosing Oklahoma over Tulane.
I do think Ohio State right now being top 3 is a little might be a reach. Man, see, Ole Miss is a good pick too. I really want to see Missouri hit some competition because I think that they're flying so far under the radar right now. For a team that's playing stupid well, they have their shit together really well. If I had to take like a top 4, I'd probably say like Georgia, Texas, Missouri, and maybe Alabama.
Golly, 3 SECs in the top 4.
Sounds like a Southerner to me.
No. I ain't a Southern. I'm a gambler. Okay. I do all my stuff on gambling. I don't wave my flag for nobody.
I mean, I like Kansas State. I like Miami. I think Missouri and Ole Miss are both in the same boat that I do not want LSU to play against because both of them are just scary looking right now.
Yeah.
But not Alabama. Alabama can kick rocks and retire with Nick Saban.
Ooh, tough.
I think if I had to pick a top 4 in no specific order, I think we're gonna have Georgia, Ohio State. I'm not putting Texas in there. I think they're gonna fall off. I'm gonna go with a sleeper team a little bit, Penn State, and then Notre Dame.
Penn State. Notre Dame, shut up.
I knew it. I knew Notre Dame was going to be thrown in there somewhere.
Spoken like a Cubs fan.
The more I look at it, I'm like, Notre Dame's at 18 after losing 2. If I was on the committee, I would unrank Notre Dame right now until they prove anything. But I'm like, I think they can come up with 6 spots and then roll the dice.
I would just say I disagree.
I disagree too.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh my gosh, yeah, spoken like a Cubs fan for sure. Well, any last thoughts?
Colorado sucks. It wouldn't shock me to see Sanders get out of there, and it's just going to be Colorado of yesteryear that we're used to.
Yeah, Colorado's not looking good. Shout out from me taking Nebraska on that one. Super happy about that.
My final thought is I think it's embarrassing Nebraska's 23 because Colorado's not good. And they put him at 23.
How about Northern Illinois getting in the top 25 after beating Notre Dame? Speaking of Notre Dame.
I mean, I guess that's what it takes to get into the top 25 is just beat a ranked team when you're a nobody school and you get in.
I mean, the rankings don't matter.
No, really, at the end of the day, these rankings don't matter. I think they're very skewed. More often than not.
When I was at the A&M Notre Dame game, at the Midnight Yell thing, they had a guy from the committee there, and this is a word-for-word quote. He said, "We don't look at rankings. We look at who we think are the best teams." And I sat there and I'm like, okay, so you can just put anyone in. Like, it made me care so much less about the rankings and more so of who do they think is going to draw more money or have more fun games or something.
That's why we need the BCS system back. The BCS system was unbiased. It was perfect. It gave you the 2 best teams to play in the national championship game. I don't care if people were crying about 2 SEC teams being in it that one year in 2011. Kick rocks, everyone. College football playoff sucks. Give me BCS.
I would agree. The ranking system now is absolute garbage. Okay, here's a question. Do you have teams that you think shouldn't be in it right now?
Yes. Penn State, Oregon, Utah, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Michigan for sure, Notre Dame for sure. Let's just kick them out.
Yeah, Louisville. I don't like Louisville. I don't even think Northern Illinois should be ranked. I think that was a fluke of a game.
Clemson?
Yeah,
Clemson, Arizona. 1-1. I think the top 25 is a bit of a mess right now, to be honest.
It is. It's a big mess.
Yeah, let's hope it gets honed in like halfway through the season because right now it's not anywhere where I think it should be, and I am not going to go through what I believe is the top 25.
No, not worth it.
Yeah, no, I don't have that kind of brain power. Well, boys, Appreciate you. Once again, guys, picks are due Saturday, September 14th, 11 a.m. Central. First game, Thursday, September 12th at 6 p.m. You will see me there gambling on those games. So if anybody needs the picks, holler at your boy. I'll give you my card. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Jerry. And once again, happy picking.